Hi everyone, welcome to The Box Seat, brought to you by Brecon Farms. As always, a pleasure to have your company. An action-packed show ahead over the next 60 minutes. Here's what you can look forward to. Tonight on The Box Seat, Stephen Reid joins us to break down JUMAL's big win and what's next for the rising star. Sheree Tomlinson reviews the performances of Misty Blue and Lavra Rose and looks ahead to her week. And Phil Williamson reflects on his remarkable career as he prepares to hang up the boots. We'll also fire through quick hitch with the big questions and strong takes, and wrap it up with a market preview covering Alexandra Park, Westport and Menangle. The Box Seat starts now. And we'll say good day to the team in the studio very shortly. Before we do that, though, let's have a look back at some of those highlights over the last 7 days. There were some fantastic performances.
75 to go. It's Muscle Mountain. History's on repeat here at Addington for the fourth time. Muscle Mountain, the mighty mountain, takes the Fred Shaw. It is the Lazarus effect. JUMAL's going to make it interesting. JUMAL goes to the front and JUMAL, what a return. 150 to go. He's 10-12 lengths in front. Brilliant chase. Second is Last Honours, then Always Be Haley and Dancing in Heaven, but this will be a big, big win for Brilliant Chase. We'll get him by 12 lengths.
Well, Balne's given the wee bit of a freshen up. He was given a cold drive here tonight. Crystal centre for home. Walking on Sunshine's going to fly late, but Balne's back into winning form and does it nicely. Well, it's been 4,312 days, Eds, but you can drink a winner home again. And he's home with All-American player, and isn't it great to have his surfaces back in New Zealand? Higher Power, Zachary goes to the lead, opens up 3-4 in blissful isolation, and this is going to be a very cruisy, comfy, and a pretty stylish win too, 20 metres in all, and Zachary very kind on him too. Higher Power, the real Higher Power, has really turned up tonight. Iron Mike Tyson's putting up a big run as well, but Nimble hits the front. Iron Mike Tyson is flying. Iron Mike Tyson, well, you thought his maiden win was good. Go back and have a look at the tape on this one. That's brilliant. Do You Want Me up on the outside? Final Change and Better Prepare, and then Village Rebel back on the inside. It's Do You Want Me? Final Change lunging. Do You Want Me? You'll just see it through.
Vessam comes with its run now and went past all of them. Vessam takes the lead in the Northern Southland Cup, and Vessam and Olivia Thornley win. Validation is going to absolutely bolt him with the Group 3. How easy was that? Validation could have had a nap, woken up and still win. Validation wins by 7 or 8 lengths.
Guerin Rocket, he's in front. The margin of Abbreviator is Bulletproof Boy. He's coming very hard. Guerin Rocket's holding up, but Bulletproof Boy does it. Bulletproof Boy wins the Newcastle Mile. What's up, Party Time? He is a qualifier for the Hammerhead. See you on the 14th. What's up, Party Time? Powered down near the line. Won it by 12 metres.
Barney, but she's left them lamenting in the twinkling of an eye, Captain's Mistress. She put 10 metres on, bang, just like that.
And it only gets better this week out of Menangle. Some cracking good fields as we build our way toward the Miracle Mile Carnival out of Menangle. As I'm about to introduce the team for you here tonight, we have Greg O'Connor and Matt Markham. Greg, some brilliant performances from, I guess we can call them Kiwis over there in Oz last week, but boy oh boy, Saturday night Menangle looks a great night.
Yeah, it certainly does, Matthew. Hi to you, to Matt and everyone at home watching. Super weekend it was, and a stunner coming up, particularly out of the speed capital of Sydney. My highlight comes up with a horse that didn't win, What a performer he has been. Here is Turn It Up winning his Auckland Cup. One of 9 out of 12 he won here in New Zealand, 3 second placings to boot before he headed across the Tasman. He's done an unreal job for a horse with his injuries over a long period of time. Shane Graham and the team have done a superb job with him. He finished second on Saturday night at Albion Park and went past $1 million in stakes. What a remarkable son of Courage Under Fire he has been, Matthew, and for me, that was about as good as it's been for the last week. I know he didn't win, but for him to go past 7 figures, stunning.
He's a great old horse, isn't he, Matt Markham? How's the last 7 days been for you?
Yeah, hi to you, Matt, and to Greg. Been a good 7 days. Really enjoyed the racing here out of HQ on Friday night, and that's where we will find my highlight for the past week, the return of JUMAL. And what a return it was to be able to sit on the back of a genuine open class pacer in the Lazarus Effect and run him down. Mathematically, it should not have been possible for him to do it. That last 200 metres is about as electric as you'll get at Addington. And the most exciting part, Matt, that's the start of the campaign. There's more room for improvement in him to come. And I'm looking forward to sitting down and having a chat with Reid about what's next for this very exciting horse.
He throws all of our scientific thoughts out the window, doesn't he, when it involves physics and maths trying to pick up horses. I thought it would have been an impossible task, but so be it. He's such a good horse, JUMAL, and good horses, they do what others can't. Here's my standout, a great thrill for the ownership group of Vessem. On Sunday, he was able to take the Northern Southland Cup. He's a horse who is probably not at the elite level, but he has to take the elite on quite a lot, Vessem, and he kind of hovers around those midfield positions, but Hayden and Amanda Cullen found the right race for him there on Sunday, and I was really chuffed to see him get another decent win in his career. So they are our highlights as we're about to welcome our first guest to the show here on The Box Seat, brought to you by Brecken Farms.
Set ready. They're racing, and the big three all came out together. Son of a Mystery and JUMAL. JUMAL about to get his chance on the far side. The Lazarus Effect popped the question. He led a length and a half. JUMAL, who's starting to close, and then came Son of a Mystery. It is the Lazarus Effect. JUMAL's going to make it interesting. JUMAL goes to the front, and JUMAL, what a return. JUMAL beats the Lazarus Effect. He's too fast. Win 7, start 8 for JUMAL, and that is about as good as you'd want to see him return.
He's such a special wee horse, and yeah, like I've said before, I'm just a lucky one who gets to sit behind him, but yeah, really, really pleasing start to this campaign. We know how good the Lazarus Effect is, so to run past him is no mean feat. So yeah, it's a big season ahead, and yeah, can't wait for the ride.
Well, Reid, man, as we welcome you into the show, I'm not sure what you were thinking mid-race, but we were kind of all of the opinion when you're thinking about physics and maths and times that these horses are running these days. Just phenomenal what your horse is able to do. Not many can do what he did here on Friday night.
Yeah, hey, Matt. Yeah, you're dead right. I was thinking pretty much the same thing. It was always the plan when Munro's mate was scratched to maybe go forward, and I said to Sam, maybe take a sit. It's his first run back, and yeah, I think it gave me probably the most pleasure I've had out of any of his wins to see him do that.
Congratulations, Stephen. We're just taking in the footage of him going to the inside of the Lazarus Effect. We talked on Friday night about who he had been placed behind, Kingman and Republican Party, and he put his backside down and just launched up the inside. How did he recover from that, and did any of that surprise you?
Yeah, I think, like I said before, I think it probably did surprise me a little bit because, as it was mentioned the other day, he is an early season 3-year-old. He's sitting on the back of a very, very good horse who obviously has a lot of speed. And I think to go past him in the manner in which he did, as I said before, gave me a lot of pleasure. And Sam actually said to me when she dropped the passing lane, she always knew she was going to win. So I thought that was a very positive thing for her to say.
You've got half a dozen targets, major targets in his 3-year-old campaign, and that wasn't one of them.
No, it wasn't. I said I had a bit of a talk to Sam the other day, and I said I've got 6 races in mind throughout the season, and because, you know, he probably had some quite tough runs as a 2-year-old, and I've always maintained that he's better coming off a helmet, so that's what happened the other night. And, you know, I think we just need to be a little bit mindful through this season about managing him right. And I think what he proved the other night is that he doesn't always have to be put in the race or led up or parked up. He can come off a helmet.
Stephen, congratulations on a super return from a super horse. Can you talk us through what the next couple of weeks entails for JUMAL, what his immediate plans are in the next few days? And I know there was a little bit of conversation perhaps about a slot. I'm picking that might be off the table though.
Yeah, 100%, Matt. I don't think we're going to go down that route. I'm going to stick to the 3-year-old races with him. He is booked to fly. Well, firstly, I must say, absolutely stoked with how he came through that run. I know, probably look at it and think it wasn't an overly hard run. Well, it wasn't, but it was good. It was a great stepping stone. And he's going to hop on the plane next Tuesday and fly to Auckland. I'm going to be based at Lincoln Farms. They've been really, really good about putting me up. I'll be training him on the old track where I used to work. He's been there before, so that's all positive. And he will attack the Alabar Classic on the Friday night. So fly on the Tuesday, race on the Friday, and then he's got 1 week to the Harness Millions.
All right, Reid, man, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about JUMAL and talk to you a lot on the show about JUMAL over the next 6 or 12 months. But you've got another horse in your stable whom is a pretty handy customer, and he looks a really genuine fella. I'm talking about Suns Out, Guns Out. It just seems as though everything you throw at him, he's just copping it and loving it.
Yeah, well, as I said to Greg on the radio the other day, Matt, that if I didn't have JUMAL, I'd be thinking I've got a pretty fair 3-year-old on my hands. And look, he is. He's a very nice horse. The owners have been really patient with him. He's out of that good mare Gold Elite, the Gold Ace family. You know, that Gold Elite's done such a great job in the broodmare paddock. And I said to the part owner, Derek Moore, a few months ago, I said, if we give this horse the time, I think he's going to step up and be pretty good. And look, I think it's pretty evident now that he's starting to really furnish into a really nice 3-year-old.
Got home in 29.6. That wasn't the most impressive part of it, Reid, man. It was more about the 1,200 metres earlier because Blair just kept niggling away at him. He's obviously a very good stayer, and it hasn't taken the country's leading reinsman too long to work that out.
Yeah, that is absolutely 100% right, Greg. I've never sort of said much to Sticks about it, but he's worked him out. And it was good to see in his maiden win, you know, like I'm been a great advocate for looking after these horses. And in his maiden run, when he sat 1-1, they didn't go any time. They got home in 27.4. He probably lacks a yard of real quick speed, but he's a great stayer. And I think that Blair worked that out really, really quickly the other night. And, yeah, I mean, maybe not as quick home as what JUMAL went, but in saying that, only 1/10 of a second slower overall. So I think he's got a real positive future, this horse.
Hey, Reid, man, save our number because I'm sure you're going to be hearing from us a fair bit over the next 6 or 12 months. Great to see JUMAL return in such fine fettle, and we'll catch up with you shortly.
Matt, I really hope so.
All right, there's Stephen Reid. Time now for guest number 2 here on the box seat.
Top of the straight, Cocktails in Caviar led Meadloo and Bruntwood Brigade. Cocktails in Caviar a length and a half, Meadloo, Bruntwood Brigade. Misty Blue Deep is getting home now. It's Cocktails in Caviar in front, Misty Blue and Seaside Rose are flying. Cocktails in Caviar grabbed by Misty Blue. Misty Blue wins again. She just loves the grass track. Wins 7 on the grass, win 8 overall for the Sweet Blue mare out of Nicky's Power. Once again charges over the top of them here at the Rangiora grass track to win it. She just relishes it.
Welcome to the box seat, Sheree. I'm sure 12 months ago you probably wouldn't have thought Misty Blue would be in the situation she is the amount of races she's won and money won.
No, definitely not. I mean, the last 12 months, she's really taken us on a great ride. And, you know, to go from being a maiden at Blenheim last year to now winning 8 races is just unbelievable, really. And, you know, we're just so happy with her, and she's taken us on a really good ride.
Congratulations, Sheree. We're just taking in the footage of Sunday. It was obviously a wetter grass track there. Right about here, though, Cocktails and Caviar had 4 or 5 lengths on you, but she seems a really happy horse. She just wanted to let down here, and that's not an easy thing to do. She's come an enormously long way, but she's been a pretty handy horse here.
Yeah, and when the fields come out, Matt and I both thought it was over 2.6 until we seen the fields, and it was only 1950 stand, and she was off 10 metres. So we weren't going into it with too much expectations, and to pick them up like she did was, yeah, really good. And yeah, turning for home, she did feel awesome, and she was early on in her career, she'd sort of sprint for 50 and ease up a bit, but I thought she really hit the line well on Sunday.
Interestingly enough, her grass track record, and old mate beside me told us a couple of times, both me and Brittany, that this horse was absolutely a grass tracker. I suppose 7 from 8 would indicate that he's right. I don't really like saying that, and I'm sure you don't either, but his record on the grass, I'm talking about him at that house of yours, he destroyed the lawn at one stage, so it's interesting that this mare loves it.
Yeah, well, I guess she had to up her game for what he did to our lawn, unfortunately, but it's slowly recovering.
Well done, Sheree, on another fantastic win there on the weekend. I'm going to keep the digs going because I've actually got a viewer question for you in relation to Misty Blue. They would like to know what Matthew Cross is like to drive for. Is he a bit tough? Is he critical? Or is he one of those happy-go-lucky owners that just lets things slide?
Well, as we tell most people, well, I don't tell him how to commentate and he doesn't tell me how to drive. And I think, yeah, I can't commentate, and well, he obviously isn't a race day driver. Great track work driver, but not a race day driver. So we stay in our own lanes.
I'll carry the conversation on, Sheree, and we'll change tact. You also won on Lavra Rose there on Sunday as well. She's a horse who is a little bit like Misty Blue, obviously down in grades a little bit, but she seems to relish the grass, and she's got a decent little turn of foot on her as well.
Yeah, she does, and she picked up her maiden win and her second win quite quickly. So, yeah, she's probably had to move through the grades a bit quicker than Misty did early on in her campaign. And the other day, she sprinted, considering how bad the grass. Well, we'd had a lot of rain on the track by then, and to still have that turn of foot that she had was quite impressive too.
Yep, she was explosive, finished right over the top of them, and with that sort of speed, she can win some more races as well. Talk me through a day in the life of Sheree Tomlinson. How do you fill in your days? And obviously part of the Misty Blue story is Bruce Negus. So what does a day and a week look like for you?
Well, currently I haven't been going to Bruce's much lately. He's got plenty of staff around there and are doing a good job with his team. So I just go down to Nana and Granddad's in the morning and feed breakfast. And yeah, just Mum and I are working about 13 at the moment. So that's keeping us busy enough. And if I was going to Bruce's, I wouldn't be able to come home at lunchtime and get my lunch made for me. So it's working out quite good at the moment. And then, yeah, head back down and feed up in the afternoons. And yeah, just busy enough. And we've got some nice wee horses, 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds coming through. So hopefully we'll see them on the track in the next 6 to 12 months time.
Sheree, we just showed your career statistics up there on the screen. Obviously, it's been a really good start to 2026 through the first couple of months. Are you a goal setter? Is there something that you want to achieve over the course of the next 10 months or so before the season wraps up, or are you just happy taking things as they come?
Not really. I'd probably have more goals as a junior, you know, but now just to keep driving in races and paying the bills and the mortgage sort of thing, you know, and getting as many wins as you can. And it's nice to see your own family trotters going out there and doing a job now. Like, yeah, that's sort of where I've gone to, you know, more the family horses and getting them up and going, and even horses like Misty, you know, like you get such a thrill out of, you know, seeing your own horses that you've worked up and prepared for the races going well.
Can you give us a winner before we let you go this week?
Well, it'd be nice if Misty went good again, but I guess maybe probably, oh no, you put me on the spot a bit. If Zooty trots and behaves herself, either the Friday or the Sunday at the coast, but she's just a funny wee thing and sort of needs things to go away, but she does have the ability, she's just got to put her right foot forward.
Thanks, Sheree. We'll see you soon.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, time now for guest number 3 on the box seat.
Heading for home, Jasmine's Gift. Jasmine's Gift, Allegro Agitato came out. They were followed then by Cracking Over, Too Much to Do. Lyle Creek trying to stomp down the outside, but here's the new pretender to the Phil Williamson throne, and going to the line, Jasmine's Gift. Jasmine's Gift beats home Allegro Agitato.
Phil Williamson, congratulations. You had 2 in the race. You've run the Cornella and you've ended up winning it as well. And Group 1 race with your 2 trotters. This is something special.
Yeah, it's a proud moment for me, all right. I'm pretty rapt about it.
Great support from the family. They're all here tonight to enjoy it as well.
All except my eldest son. It's a shame he wasn't here because he's put a lot of work into this mare and, you know, big credit to him.
She's really stepped up tonight?
She certainly did. She shocked a few, including me.
Phil Williamson, congratulations with your victory in the Group 1 trot this evening.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Phil Williamson, you've created a bit of a dynasty from that point on with the boys obviously going on to do such a wonderful job in the sulky, but you've decided it's time for you to not put the colours on anymore and leave it up to them. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, no, thanks, Matty. It just comes down to time. When I was younger, I loved the driving, but as you get older, you start to lose your agility, and once you're just taking you 5 minutes to pull out earplugs and pull down blinds and things, you have to come to the realisation that you're not as, what would I say, young as you used to be. So I decided that was the right time to do it, and yeah, happy to do it too, because if you have a pretty high standard, you like to try to keep to it, and as you get older, you definitely slow down.
Hey Phil, congratulations on a remarkable driving career. 333 wins, all started with Hajano back in December of 1977 at Timaru for your then boss and master, I suppose, in Dick Prendergast. Taught you so much about the trotting gait, but your longevity in the cart and the development of your driving, and then obviously on to your sons now. It's been one heck of a ride.
Yeah, no, I've been very lucky. It's been been an enjoyable life. I love the game and I love the driving, but if you have a high standard and you start to slip, it's time to realise that age does catch up with you.
Yeah, you had such a magical period there with Jasmine's Gift, with Allegro Agitato, won over Kenny. It was just like an unbelievable production line at one stage. You still think back or look back at those times and think, man, this game was actually pretty easy back then.
Yeah, it was never easy, Greg, because I did realise how good the horses I had were, and that's one of the keys. You've got to realise how talented the horses were I had, and I had a remarkable run of nice horses.
Phil, been a wonderful career in the sulky. I grew up as a young lad in Methven hearing about the man from Oamaru with a mow that my father used to work with there at the legendary Dick Prendergast stable, and I think one of the first horses that I can remember, and it was maybe the time that you really grew to prominence in my eyes anyway, was a trotter by the name of Role Model who took you on a wonderful run there. Be some wonderful memories around that particular horse as well.
Yeah, it certainly was, Pat. It's sort of the introduction to the family too. The kids were just old enough to know, what the racing was about when he came along, and he was a wonderful horse to start off with. He taught me a lot. You learn by mistakes, and if you've got a nice horse, they cover a few of them up. But he did a wonderful job. He was a lovely horse.
Phil, have you got one moment where if you're having a rough day, sometimes you just turn back the clock and you reminisce over one race or one horse? Is there something that stands out?
Well, the one you just showed with Jasmine's Gift was one of the greatest driving thrills I had, but going over to Australia and winning big races over there, it's a big buzz because it's not that easy to do, and won the Derby over there, the Victoria Derby. Nathan drove him though, Springbank Richard. That was a massive thrill, and obviously the Dominion. But any big race, we've had so many lovely horses and won so many nice races. So it's pretty hard to cut it down to one or two. But as I say, I've just had a stellar run of lovely horses and make you look good.
Right, Phil, you've decided no more driving. Obviously, the training side of things, you're going to be full steam ahead. How many are you sort of doing down there at the moment? Have you got a nice team around you?
No, actually, I'm cutting back on that too, Matt. I've just realised that, actually, Caleb, who was working for me, he's actually decided to try his luck in the mines in Australia where he can get a bit of money behind himself. So he's gone over there, and I'm sort of had to cut back to manageable numbers, so I'm not doing so many. But I'm still going to enjoy training a horse or two for sure, but mainly my own, and work through the ones that I've got. And but one or two of them nice. Tarragindi's pretty nice horse, but he's probably going to come back and go in the rating system like 4-year-olds. There's not a lot around for them, so he'll just, as I say, run in the rating races, and there's one or two others there that go okay.
It doesn't matter what you take to the races, Phil. We respect your horses, the punters respect your horses, and I know that your fellow competitors do as well. So congratulations on a wonderful career in the sulky, and may there be many more training wins to come, even though you are cutting down. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks very much for having me on.
All right, there is Phil Williamson, and we'll just quickly have a bit of a chat about it. When you actually brought up the point of that run that he had, it was just such a rich period, and everything that he touched just turned to gold.
Yeah, exactly, and role model, as Matthew alluded to, actually won the New Zealand Trotting Championship when it was Group 2, beat Call Me Now. Now, that was a pretty auspicious start to group race wins for him, and then it just went on and on and on, and he talked about Springback Sam then. He developed one over Kenny, did a magic job with her before she went to Tony Herlihy. Some of his horses, even these days, Empire City, you just know what you're going to get from him. They'll be fit, they'll be ready to run a race, and as soon as you see those colours, Matthew, just total respect.
You hit the nail on the head there. You see them in the form guides and you automatically go, right, I've got to take at least a second look at this horse. You go through some of those names and the memories that come back. Horses like Leighton Hest winning at the Jewels with Maddie sitting in the bike when Maddie looked 12. About 12. Yeah, 100%. But I think that's going to be the everlasting thing about Phil Williamson, and I know that we're not going to see him out on the track driving. Him and Bev, what they've done for the game in terms of the legacy that they've brought through all of their children, particularly the 3 boys in harness racing, and they're going to continue that for many, many years to come. So they've done a wonderful service to our industry, and while we're not going to see Phil out there on the track driving, we'll still see him smiling as he walks around those racecourses.
And don't forget, in the last couple of weeks, he and Bev sold 2 horses at the yearling sales, both for 6 figures, so they've still got a big part to play. Yeah,
great to catch up with Phil Williamson. We're going to catch up now with Wilson House, and we're about to welcome him into the hot seat here on the box seat. Welcome, Wilson. Are you ready?
Yep, hopefully.
All right. You know the drill. First question, first things first. One word. Can you describe yourself on race day in one word?
Oh, usually busy.
Usually busy? That's 2 words. Day or night racing?
Night racing.
Okay, yeah, we all like night racing. Trotters or paces? This is an interesting one because you sort of drive a fair bit of both. Have you got a preference?
Definitely prefer a nice trotter, Matt.
Okay. If you could be one driver in the world, anywhere in the world, who would you be?
Well, it has to be Dexter.
I think this is the first time we've had Dexter. Yeah. We had Zach last week, didn't we? All right, one thing you're good at away from racing?
Probably sleeping on the aeroplane.
Yep, that's good. All right, one track you always drive well at?
Ooh, I don't know if that exists, but I want to say I usually have a good day out when I go to mock races.
Oh, I thought you would have said Palmy.
No, it's hit or miss. Hit or miss.
Okay. Best moment of your career so far, Wilson?
Probably more recently with the Present Maker at Harness 5000 at Ashburton.
Yeah, big buzz. Who's the best person to beat on the track?
Probably Sam Thornley.
Yeah. Your favourite box seat presenter?
I'm a bit biased. Matt Cross cooks a good feed, so I've got to go with Matt.
I think Greg's going to have to start. Greg's not happy. He's spared it. I think I'm 4 from 4. Can you give us a winner this week, Wilson?
I like Burnham Gill's chances tomorrow at Oamaru.
Yeah, it's a great price too. I think it's about $5.50. All right, thanks for joining us in the hot seat. All the best. You're doing a bit of travelling this week, I see. Oh, by the way, just before you go, I was going to tip Matt Harry in the last at Westport. Am I on the ball or not?
Yeah, I think so. His run the other night at Addington was fantastic, just in behind them, and he likes the distance and he'll love a wet grass track if it rains.
All right, that'll do. More on Matt Harry at the end of the show. Thanks, Wilson.
Cheers, Matt.
All right, we're going to head to a break here on the box seat. And we've got a few things we're bringing in. We're always trying something different, and you at home can tell us what you like and what you don't like. We've decided we're going to do a drive of the month, and here is your February drive of the month.
February's drive of the month belongs to the master of timing, Blair Orange aboard the Big Lebowski in the Waikouaiti Cup. Off a 40-metre handicap over 3,000 metres on the grass, it wasn't just about horsepower, it was about judgment. Orange made a clean beginning from the back, settled, assessed the tempo, and then made his move at the 1950. Not panicked, not rushed, just calculated. By the 1,400 metre mark, he'd worked to the front, and from there he steadied when he needed to, then lifted the tempo at exactly the right time. It was positioning, it was patience, it was pressure applied at the perfect moment. Blair Orange didn't just win the Cup, he drove it to perfection. Blair Orange gets our drive of the month for February. This week's Pacers Performance of the Week belongs to a 3-year-old who just raised the bar, JUMAL. First up at Addington, he didn't just win, he won with authority. Sent forward early by Sam Otley, he controlled the tempo, relaxed beautifully, and when the passing lane opened, he exploded. The Lazarus effect ran home in 26.4, and JUMAL still blasts past him. That's open class speed from a horse who isn't even fully wound up yet. Big targets ahead, big moments coming. JUMAL, our Pacers Performance of the Week.
And that should come as no surprise. Great earlier on to catch up with Stephen Reid, and we look forward to seeing where JUMAL heads next. Michael Guerin, I'm sure that you would have been in awe of what you saw from him there on Friday night.
Yeah, good evening, Matt. Big hi to all our viewers. I couldn't kind of believe it actually happened because he looked a little bit fat to me, and as Reid told everybody, he was a touch underdone. But well done to Sam Otley, summing up the situation at the start, as the boys indicated on Friday Night Lights, that it could change with a few scratchings inside. Later that night, we saw an even more remarkable performance from a horse at the different end of his career. Bulletproof Boy, we usually associate with Victoria. Well, here he is in Newcastle, and there's Reid Rocket, a horse we know well, coming out of the 1-1, running up to win the Newcastle Mile. But no, Bulletproof Boy said not today, young fella. And he's come from last. I watch a lot of Newcastle harness racing, and they don't come from last very often, Matt. He is straight into the Miracle Mile. They have the 2 other preludes of the Miracle Mile this Saturday. They would be as strong a preludes as I've ever seen for a Miracle Mile under the current situation and current date structure. They're really, really strong. And of course, Captain's Mistress, unbackably short in the Chariots of Fire. So some very cool harness racing coming out of Menangle on Saturday night.
You're looking forward to that action-packed evening. Plenty on the line over the next couple of weeks. All right, time now for you to go on the record. Michael, you have 2 minutes to chat about whatever you want. And this week, you're going to talk about some pretty good news.
Well, I don't have 2 minutes, Matt, because I owed you a minute from last week. So we're going to sum this up in 1 minute. Breeding numbers are up. Now, we did mention this could happen about 2 months ago. Brad Reid from Harness Racing New Zealand and the breeders suggesting to us this could be the case. Well, it has proven to be the case. So we've had 1,670 mares served. That's up 6%. Jump in eligible stallion bookings for the Harness 5,000. That's obviously stallions who stand at $5,000 or less. Paces have actually led the boost because the pacing market's very strong. Trotters expands, 34 stallions used. Wasn't expecting that, I'll be honest. And I think, guys, we can say this has been a whole lot of baby steps by people who are working really hard to fix one of the biggest problems in world racing. We know it's not going to be easy to turn this around totally, and I think we often in harness racing look for a silver bullet to fix all our issues. If we do this, we'll get that. This has been hard work and things put in place and bonuses and Harness 5000s, Matt. Congratulations to the people involved. We need a lot more, but sometimes these little gains have a lot of work behind them, and I think we should be very respectful of what other people have done here to achieve that.
Right, you didn't have to give us the minute back, Michael, but anyway, while we've just got you guys here, Michael's obviously mentioned a few things. We're quick to say when something's not going right, why is it not going right? This is obviously going right. So what do you put it down to? What have we done right to keep moving forward in this regard?
Oh, I think Michael summed it up beautifully. There's been a whole lot of little things, Harness 5000s, trying to introduce a new generation and next gen. All of that sort of stuff is added to it. Brad Reid and his team at the Breeders have been part of that. We might have him on next week just to explain a little bit more about that. But for the first time, Matthew, in 8 seasons, to have a lift, that's a blimmin' good way to stop a trend.
Yeah, and we've got to see it as a positive. I know it's not huge numerically, but it is a step in the right direction, and it's a case of opportunities being created to enable breeders to want to head back to the breeding barn, whether it's through breeding credits or the initiatives that have been introduced over the course of the last 12 months. And I think what's really important to note too is that a number of those initiatives are still very much in their infancy stage, and we're not yet seeing probably the full effects of those. Paddock to Podium's one that's only just really come into play. I don't think we'll see anything until next season's breeding stats, but really encouraging, I think, going forward. Anything that is seen as a step in the right direction's a good step.
For sure. All right, you guys ready for a bit of quick hitch?
Cool.
20 seconds each. You know the rules. If you talk over, you will be cut off. We've only got 3 quick hitches tonight. First things first, we're going to talk about the 2-year-old Colts and Geldings Young Guns at Alexandra Park. Says it's preferential barrier draw, but you've got the 2 best horses drawn 1 and 1 on the second row. Matt Markham, you first, your thoughts?
We shouldn't have that kind of preferential barrier draws. My thoughts, the fact that Tua Party, who I know hasn't won a Young Guns heat, so therefore doesn't quite fit into the preferential system in the same way as Coalfire, drawing 1 and then having Coalfire to follow him through the whole way just sort of makes a wee bit of a mockery of that whole system. I'd like to see it change going forward.
Yeah, a little bit of that comes down to the numbers that are in that field, but I've said it over and over again, I hate the sequential preferential system. It therefore means that the best horse in the race, if you have a full field, draws the outside of the second row. That's not the worst draw. The worst draw is either the outside of the front row or, in this situation, the inside of the back row, but there's only 9 runners, so it doesn't quite work.
It's kind of funny unless you own the other horses, because when you look at it, it's actually made for a really good betting race, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Tua Party can lead or whether the Lazarus horse that Barry and Scotty trains on barrier 4 can get across him, because he's a pretty good horse. It's actually made for a really interesting race, but that's not the point. If you own the other horses, you'd be absolutely annoyed. Yeah, it's massively less than ideal, shall we say, Matt.
Quick hitch number 2, straight back to you, Michael. OK, your life depends on it. Miracle Mile, who is running for your life? What horse?
Well, funny enough, it would be Leap to Fame, even though he wouldn't be my top tip in the race. He'd be the horse most likely to run in the top 3, because he never goes a bad race. But pre-draw, impossible to tell. If you had to run for the best placing, so it was my life against the other boys, I'll take Leap to Fame.
I'll go Captain's Mistress. I'll go the excitement machine, and you've only got to listen to the manner in which both Jason Grimson and Cam Hart talk about her and what lies ahead for her to know that she could be something pretty special. And I think over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to get a true understanding of just how good she is and how big a step she's taken from when she left New Zealand.
Yep, I'll absolutely go Leap to Fame, regardless of what he draws. Maybe 1 wouldn't be ideal, but any other draw, he'll be put in the race. You know what you're going to get from him. For a long period of time, he's been the benchmark. If you needed a horse to race for your life, absolutely leap to fame be it, and how good is it to have him part of this Miracle Mile?
Yeah, we love a bit of leap to fame, don't we? Some great clashes coming up. Our final quick hitch is in regards to the JCA reports and being published publicly in a new day and age in technology. Greg, your thoughts around this?
Yeah, I think this has come about as a result of an article turning up in Stuff where a bot has just gone and grabbed a whole lot of information and then plastered it on the pages of a newspaper, which doesn't really tell a true or reflect the true story. It was a nothing story about an incident that probably shouldn't have made it to print, and yeah, I just wonder whether we want to give them any of that sort of leverage to write what they want.
Fair to say it's a subject to know a bit about. What happens to information in the wrong hands if you put it out there publicly? Yes, it should be available to everybody who owns a horse or who is involved in the industry, breeders, trainers, those sort of people. They're invested. But sometimes you've got to wonder what this information is being used for and why people are using it as clickbait.
Clean way to fix it. Let's remove the race day hearings off the JCA RIB website. They're publicly available through HRNZ and NZTR. Keep non-race day reserved decisions on there, though.
You owe me 20.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
And old mate in Auckland, you probably actually weren't that bad. You sort of put us on the back foot, but anyway,
Yep.
That's all right. That's okay. If you have an idea for Quick Hitch, please send us an email. And even with our drive of the month, if you have an idea of if something stands out, send us in. Make sure you give us a reason. Don't just say race 4, number 2, Greg O'Connor driving the winner. Give us a reason. We'll put it up on the box seat if we all agree. And if you've got a Quick Hitch, make sure you send them through as well. We're going to head to a break here. Speaking of performances, our performance of the week for trotters. And again, this one should come as no surprise.
This week's trotter performance of the week goes to the modern marvel, Muscle Mountain. 4 wins in the Group 1 Fred Shaw New Zealand Trotting Championship. That level of dominance is almost unheard of. Ben Hope drove him perfectly, aggressive to the front, smart enough to take the trail, patient enough to wait for the passing lane. And when the gap came, the big millionaire let down with trademark class. An old warrior still standing tall against the next generation. Muscle Mountain, our trotting performance of the week.
Here's what's coming up on the harness racing calendar this week. We kick off on Wednesday with midweek racing at Oamaru. Before Thursday rolls into Out the Gate, with the Waikato Bay of Plenty Harness hosting its first March meeting. Friday brings another big night of racing, with Auckland hosting the Northern Mares Gateway and Young Gun Heats, while Westport celebrates Kawateri Cup Day on the coast. Then on Sunday, it's the Sunday Sesh, with Reefton front and centre for Grey Valley Cup Day. Another strong week of harness racing, all live, all covered, right here on Trackside and trackside.co.nz. Alexandra Park, we've got some hot fields up there. The first of those will be race number 4 on the program, the Hydroflow Mobile Pace. Rubera 190, Better Knuckle up 230, and Greg, we see the return of the Sire Stakes winner, the only horse to beat JUMAL.
Yeah, he is. He comes up with barrier 1. He's $12. Carter will drive him. Anthony Butt on Sonio. Spoke to Crandall Getty today at the trials, and he said, look, they'll both race well, but they'll both improve, and obviously they're taking on horses that have gone around, like Better Knuckle Up in the New Zealand Cup, Little Spike, Rubera and Jollymon. It's a handy lineup.
Yeah, only a small field, but boy, there's some talent from 1 through to the bottom of the book. I was probably a little bit surprised that Better Knuckle Up was that far apart from Rubera in the market. Michael, after their fresh up performances a couple of weeks ago, where I thought they were pretty even in the way they both performed.
Yeah, big change coming up this week. The blinds go back on Rubera. Now, Nathan Purdon asked Father Mark Purdon if he wanted the blinds on before the first start. He said, no, we want to drive him cold, let him run home. No blinds. Blinds go on this week. That wakes him up at the start. That means they are heading forward. Now, he'll have too much gate speed for these. He'll cross them and get to the lead. So you're saying to yourself, Is better knuckle up good enough to come around him, whether that's to get the front of him, which I wouldn't suggest is the case with the blinds on, or can he sit parked outside him? Probably not. Maybe he can. That's why you're getting 2.3. I agree with Matt. I would have thought in a normal race, on last start, it'd be reversing the odds. But those blinds, Matt, they're the absolute key to this race and very much a signal of intent.
Just while you're running hot there, Michael, the last race has Fran Scent, who looks very well in at the ratings. Is it that simple that she's the best horse in the race, or do you see Princess Gracie giving her a run for her money?
Well, when you consider their two bodies of work, it's remarkable they're that close in the market. Fran Scent has won a genuinely good open class race against Group 1 winners, and Princess Gracie's relatively untapped, has won a couple of races and was okay last week from a difficult barrier draw. By no means am I saying Princess Gracie can't win, but Fran Scent at her best would be $1.40. So I think the bookmakers are saying here, is she at her best? To confuse that even a little bit more, Lady of the Light will probably go forward and probably be annoying to Princess Gracie's chances. So I think Fran Scent will probably start short of the question I think the boys need to answer. Go to you first, Gregory. Is she at a peak enough?
I think she'll be near enough. I think the right one will win this race, and I think the market reflects that. And yeah, I expect her to go pretty close.
Yeah, she's got to find probably a couple of links on what we saw here at Addington through those features. Just some news on her, Matt, too. She'll race up in Auckland over the next 6 weeks to 2 months, and then she's actually going to join the Jason Grimson stable over in Australia. She'll become a stablemate of her old stablemate, Tokyo Rose.
Right, I've got a two-leg multi so far, Rubera into Fran Scent. Can we make it 3 here, gents? Greg, we spoke about this horse on this race on our quick hitch. Tour Party 1, Coalfire inside second row. I guess the big question is, do they have a look at Tour Party early, and does he have enough speed to hold up?
Well, Cram wasn't sure he would have enough to hold them, and We Will Rise Again should be having a decent look early. The horse to beat's Coalfire. If Tour Party did hold the lead, Michael, that would mean Coalfire's in the trail. From what we've seen so far, that would be good enough for him to be winning. So the question is, will he be in the right spot?
Gregory, I've smashed Coalfire in both his starts so far, and he's going to pay for my trip I'm taking next week because I'm taking a couple of days off from trackside. But God, this is a difficult race. I have absolutely no idea what to expect from the one. I know he's good, but it was more or less a trial, not really a race at Addington. Clearly he has ability. Can he hold the lead? I have absolutely no idea. If Coalfire sits on his back, can he take a passing lane? I don't really know. He's quite a long striding horse, and the 4 horse was really, really good winning at Pukekohe, and they think a fair bit of him, but they usually improve the Barry, Purdon, Scott Phelan horses with a run under their belt. Any one of those 3 could win without surprising, and that's not being disparaging to Leighton David, who was really good pushing Coalfire close on debut. I don't say this often, punters. Be careful with this race. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and it's not the final.
The $2.70 on offer for Coalfire probably appealed to me because he's the proven factor there, where there's enough questions around Tour Party. I know he was very good winning out here at Addington, but he's got to go up to Auckland, race the other way round, deal with Barrier 1, whereas I think Coalfire's got that experience on him, and that might just tip the scales in his favour. But like Michael, big respect for We Will Rise Again, and you had to be taken by that fresh-up performance of Leighton David a couple of weeks ago.
Greg, can you tip us one in the 7th, the 2-year-old fillies?
Well, I thought I was going to be able to, because Daisy Bay, if it went around the way it went first up, I would have said, yep, that'll be winning again. But no, it's not, and therefore the bookies have gone, whoop, I'm not really sure here. Trial form, exposed trial form, it's really hard to get a line on these, and
maybe wait and see.
I will just be waiting and see, because obviously this is Heat 3 of the series. Matthew, therefore, if you want to have a bet in the final, you have to see what happens here.
Certainly you do. I think there's a bit of value in the price around Supermodel. I was quite taken by her performances at the trials, and one thing that I always look for too there at Alexandra Park, Michael, when I'm looking to try and find a winner in some races where there's not a lot of exposed form, is around driver selections too. And we know that Zachary Butcher generally gets probably first pick at anything out of the Barry Purdon and Scott Phelan stable, and I see he's gone for her off the back of those very good trials, which is generally to me a reasonably good indication.
Over both codes, when you have juveniles of relatively similar ability, so I'm not talking about horses who win trials by 10 lengths, usually the horses who have had a race day start are significantly better. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be better long term, but they're closer to their peak. They just learn so much with one start under their belt. Eternal Perfection here should start favourite in this race for that reason. I'm not saying it's better than the other horses. I've seen their trials. I don't really know. But if a horse is going to have a subpar performance, it's going to be on debut around that track under lights, which is all of this being bunched together on Friday night. I'm stunned it's not favourite, considering how good it was, fresh up, and the fact that the majority of those drawn outside it, not all of them, but the majority, and those second line horses, haven't had a start. That's really unusual, Matt, considering in both codes, the horses, the juveniles with experience, tend to beat the ones who don't have experience.
Well, you just take the Legally Blonde supermodel Quinella. Pretty simple, isn't it? Race number 3, Lone Star Alexandra Park, handicap trot, one horse who's handicapped right out the back. There's Oscar Bonavina, deservedly so though, Greg. He's the class horse of the field. 380, do you take it?
Incredibly hard to win off 55 over the short course. He's got links on this entire field though, and provided he steps Matthew relatively safely, and he invariably does, he should make that up pretty quickly. And he might just be too fast.
Well, it just, for me, comes down to intent too. Obviously, he's first up with a pretty big campaign ahead of him. Do they want to be mooching around them at any point? And if the tempo comes out of the race, because what we've seen over the last 12 months, Michael, is if we get into these kind of races where horses are coming off handicaps and they run an exceptionally fast last 800 metres, it doesn't matter which horse we're talking about. It can be almost impossible to get over the top of them and get the job done.
Well, the horses off the front line, Matt, they're 250 horses. So Voronov's about a 249.5, 250 horse. He ran 250 when he won 2 starts ago. That means Oscar Bonavina is going to need to break 246 to beat him if Voronov can repeat that performance. Now, 244 is the national record. So you're talking about Oscar Bonavina sitting last, having to come wide very clearly and getting within a second and a half of the national record when he's fresh up. Now, he hasn't been to the workouts, but he did head to Pukekohe on the weekend with Akuta, and he worked with Akuta, and they were really happy with how he worked. But it's awfully, awfully hard to take those sort of odds. I don't think the horses on the front line will beat him. I think the big improver in the race could be Paramount Kiwi, who's now been out at the beach at Michelle Wallace and Bernie Hackett's. He could be the horse who's suited best by this. I hope Oscar wins, fellas, because over the course of my working career, and even back when I was a little nipper, there's few things I enjoy more than a horse starting off a giant handicap. I go back to Joy Boy, who started in the Westport Cup of 120 metres. Regal Flies to do it down south. Drop Moss was one of the greats. And of course, most recently, Copy That had a couple of goes off 50, 60 and then 70. So, Greg, I'm not sure about the other boys. They might be too young to remember some of those, but do you have any big favourite handicap horses from the past?
Yeah, Joy Boy. Probably not the Westport because I wasn't there, but pretty sure I went to Geraldine one day and he won off maybe 80 or 90. So, yep, remember Joy Boy, but yeah, there's something mysterious about finding a horse having to start that far behind without one that's galloped and made up all that ground and won. But when they have to give them that much of a start and it's guaranteed, it's something to behold when they get up.
It's a bit of a rarity these days, isn't it? Because they generally run so quick off the front tape that it's impossible. American Me won at Taupo just a couple of weeks ago off a 40-metre handicap. One for me that sticks out, Matthew Cross. A trotter by the name of Bragg wasn't on course, but in the space of 12 months went off 50, 60, 70 and 80 metres at Manawatu. Now, just to add a little bit more impressive to that, I did look up the numbers. Never in a field smaller than 11. Around Manawatu, which is a pretty fair effort when you think about it.
I would have thought Palmy would have been quite popular for that, especially in that first trot race where there's such a spread and you see them go back 10 metres every time. Well found. I remember that horse. Been some good trotters come from the Manawatu, from Alexandra Park, where we will have all of the coverage on Friday Night Lights. We'll also have this race on Friday Night Lights. It is the Kawateri Cup at Westport, their annual March meeting along with Reefton on the Sunday. Real head scratcher here, Greg. Spirit Down Under seems the horse who's coming in with the Addington form. He's 6 into 460 and he was pretty quickly in as well.
Yeah, never been in a stand though, so there's a little bit of a concern there. Bruntwood Brigade had that opportunity the weekend and galloped away. The Coleman will step, Flying Bird. We've seen all these horses, Haxall Ridge going around in these types of races. Oh yeah, and Misty Blue goes okay on a grass track.
Yeah, I can't see why she can't win again as well. I think she's one of the proven factors in these country cup races over the course of the last couple of months. You could add Haxall Ridge into that discussion as well. But after a couple of years of where this race has been a little bit smaller in numbers, Michael, it's good to see it rejuvenated with a big field, even field of paces to go around this year.
It's a bloody hard place to come off a handicap, talking about handicaps at Westport. So some horses do it predominantly in the trotting races. Gee, it's hard in pacing races because it's so flat and because they run so hard. So probably with Spirit down under, but no great conviction. I'm still dying to get back to Westport for the trots. Haven't been for about 30 years. I'm looking forward to one day getting back there. And by the way, to you, Matt, to you and Harness Johansson, congratulations with Misty Blue. I've been keeping my eyes out. Just not sure you'll back up this week off that handicap.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. We'll take on the challenge, Michael. We've also got a nice trot there at Westport as well. And 235 one over the line. Again, we're sort of talking that Addington form, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Rachmaninoff will do me. Look at its move too. 9s into 650. Raced superbly last week. When you look through his form line, yeah, he can certainly have a big part to play in race number 9.
I've been going to Westport for a number of years, and I think in these kind of races, you want to find the ones that have performed at Patterson Park in the past. Rachmaninoff is definitely one of them. The other is Premium Player, 5 starts, 4 victories. So can't be much better performed on the track than that.
All right, looking forward to having you there on Friday as well, both the Mats on Friday Night Lights, where you'll be parked up right here. Will you, Greg?
Yeah, I will be. Absolutely.
Beautiful. All right, we look forward to that coverage, as we do Menangle races 5, 6 and 7 on Saturday night. Everywhere you look here, Greg, there's just stars galore.
Yeah, cracking contest this, Michael. Don Hugo inside 260. Obviously, Leap to Fame coming into it. Speak the Truth will come off the gate. Wider out, you've got the likes of Chase a Dream. Really interested to see where he's at.
It's going to be really interesting, Greg, because you have to run top 2 to be guaranteed your spot in the Miracle Mile. So things get really tricky because you don't want to be parked out and you don't want to be attacked. Leap to Fame is the interesting horse here, obviously, because he won't get to the marker pegs first. Don Hugo, does he get crossed by Hi, My Name is Jeff? That's going to be really interesting. But who wants to cop the pressure? So Miracle Mile preludes are notoriously difficult races for horses sitting parked to win. Leap to Fame deserves to be favourite, but if I was having a bet in this race, it'd probably be Don Hugo, who has, of course, beaten Leap to Fame in a Miracle Mile. Here is the second of the heats. Pin Seeker was so good. Fresh up at Menangle, or fresh up in New South Wales at Menangle, but gee, this is a good field. We obviously all know Kingman. Swayze's out there at barrier 12, which will become a 10. I just can't see him winning from out there. I don't think he can go fast enough to get where he needs to be. Rakiro Rocket was only okay last week. He didn't look entirely comfortable coming out of the 1-1 at Newcastle. And Greg, a horse you've seen plenty of times on your Queensland joints is the Janitor. This is a really good even field, but very clearly Kingman is the best of the Menangle natural milers, because I'm not counting Swayze as one of those.
Yeah, you're right, and the Janitor's a really good horse, and of course he has got his eyes on the race at Cambridge. Barrier 1, I think Pete McMullen will be able to get him out hard enough, and you're going to see a lot of this horse on the Grand Circuit over the next 12, 18 months. He's a beauty, he's got the right draw to qualify himself for the Miracle Mile, Matthew, and he's just a lovely horse.
Are we getting good reports on Pin Seeker?
Yeah, really pleased. Obviously, he's been in the care of Luke McCarthy for the better part of the past week. I know Johnny was ecstatic when he saw the barrier draw come out earlier this week. It gives him a few options. Has he got enough speed to maybe get across the Janitor if he really, really tries? It'll be interesting to see what he does out of the gate, but he's going to get the perfect opportunity to at least give himself a chance to qualify if things unfold.
I don't even think I need to ask you guys about this one, to be fair. Captain's Mistress. I've got a question for you, Michael. Captain's Mistress, is she a live Miracle Mile winning chance for you?
Matt, the Miracle Mile so often comes down to where you draw. Very, very good horses, way better horses than Captain's Mistress, have drawn barriers 6, 7 or 8 and never got into the race. So she'll get through this. I would suggest she'll win. This Double Lou, by the way, the horse from barrier 1, is a very good horse, a very good Menangle horse for Bailey McDonough, and I think he'll he'll run second. I think he's clear top pick to danger her, so therefore you could maybe take him as a top 2 bet or a Quinella bet. The following week, though, I know there's an enormous amount of hype on Captain's Mistress, and I love the horse, but it's an entirely different stratosphere from what she's been racing to what she may be racing next week. We still don't know who's going to be in that field, Matt, and we don't know where she's going to draw. At barrier 8, she could start $7. From barrier 1, if she wins by 20 this week, she could start $2 favourite. But you've also got to remember, like, there's so many horses here that people know, like Leap to Fame, if he makes it into the field. And of course, the directors can choose to invite him even if he doesn't run top 2 or 3 this week. As long as he races, they can invite him if he runs last. There's a lot of moving parts to this market, so I wouldn't be getting carried away with the futures market for the Miracle Mile just yet, because we don't really know who's going to be there, apart from Bulletproof Boy, and they will invite Leap to Fame.
All right, we're going to pull the plugs and get out of here. Best bets, Matt, do first.
I'll go to Westport, race 5 on Friday, Dancing in Heaven from the John Morrison stable. Last 4 starts have been behind Brilliant Chase, Gets Eastside Lucky, Sun's Out, Guns Out and See What a Mickey, and they've been 4 very good runs. I think it's his time to win this week.
Yep, I agree with you. I think it's absolutely a race he can win. Difficult week to find a winner, but I'm just going to go with the unbeaten horse, Coalfire. I think $2.70 is a good price, provided he gets a little bit of luck. He can win again, Michael.
I thought it was a really strong night of races where there's 2 or 3 winning chances at Alexandra Park, so I agree with you, Greg, but I'm going to go with Ribera. I think the blinds on, he'll get across them, and then he can win in front, and he can win potentially trailing, because let's not forget, he's done that to beat a horse like Marketplace. So he's $1.90. It's close enough to the mark for a horse who hasn't won an open class race, but Matt, I think we can do a little bit better than that. He's my best bet, and it's my chance for the boost, so I think we can give you a 2.4. And if you do that, Matt, I know Kiwis don't punt like this, but this is how I punt. I'll be more than happy to have 100 on him at 2.4, have 100 on Better Knuckle Up. I've spent $200. I'm getting either 15% profit or 20% profit, and that will pay for a beer after Champions Day on Saturday night.
And those 2 horses you see him beating there, Got the Chocolates and, of course, Marketplace, so that form's pretty good. Now, if Westport by race 11 is tough going, there will be no tougher than Matai Harry, and Wilson House has already given us the push for a massive drop back. He'll notice a huge drop in class there. Last race, number 11 Westport, will be part of Friday Night Lights, as well as Alexandra Park, where Greg's best comes in. Race 6, number 9 Coalfire, inside second row, 270. Matt Markham and all of us agree Dancing in Heaven should be winning the 5th at Westport. Matai Harry in the Get Out Stakes and Ribera with the boost. Michael, thank you.
Thanks, guys. We're looking forward to not only Saturday during the day, of course, it's going to be a killer at Ellerslie, but also looking forward to Saturday night at Menangle. This is in a Miracle Mile, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch it unwind over the next 9 or 10 days.
Safe travels to Westport. Matt, great having you here the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, same to you. We'll see you over on the other side of the Southern Alps. Enjoy the racing week ahead.
And the Old Faithful. We'll see you here on Friday Night Lights.
Not liked by those who are coming on the show, but anyway, happy to be here.
Well, maybe next week. We might rig it. That's been The Box Seat with Brecon Farms. Thanks for your company wherever you're going this week. Please travel safely, especially those over the coast. Until next Tuesday, see you later.